Hello friends, now we have got the third lecture on new criticism. This is introduction. Now the first two we were doing some work, as I told you, with an introduction that is, do not mock me fellow students. That is, I was actually trying to apply these methods of new criticism on a piece of great work which I don't want to reveal now. By this time you may know it, but still I don't want to reveal it, because according to the methods used by the new critics, you are not supposed to tell anything about the author, history or cultural background, none of these things. Understand? So I am not going to tell you that. Now keep it a secret. If you can find out, it's okay. And if it enhances your appreciation of that piece, it's great and wonderful and miraculous. Okay. So now we come to the introductory part, that is new criticism. This is a literary movement, not a theory. It's a movement, say by about 15 persons, prominent persons, critics. So first and foremost, we have to keep in mind is that this is not a theory, it is a movement. So that a collection, a collective, we can say, a critics collective, movement by a critics collective. Understand? And they started in late 1920s and 30s, went up to 1970s. You can say 1920s, 20s and 30s up to 70s. Now after 70s what happened, I don't want to tell you now, because that may in some way create an obstacle or some way a negative feeling towards new criticism if I tell you what happened in new criticism after 1970s. Forget about that for the time being, then we will see. So the parent location of this new criticism is the USA. Parent location means the starting, the USA, the starting point. You can see the epicenter, we say, epicenter. For earthquake, we say epicenter of earthquake. So the point of origin, you can say, that is the USA. Now, this is a reaction to the traditional criticisms, that is a criticism's approach. Traditional criticism's approach. What is traditional criticism approach? They are concerned with matters of extraneous to the text. Matters of extra. We say no, extra linguistic, we say like that. Extra literary. Extra literary matters, extraneous to the text, such as biography of the author, psychology of the author at the moment of creation, or you will also find the text relationship with the literary history or culture or just political history and so on. Understand? When we think of certain works, we can see Dollimore and Seinfeld. They have come up with a new theory, cultural materialism, to interpret the plays of Shakespeare. So that is actually, what are they doing? They are putting it in the, as if Shakespeare's plays are the products of a particular culture. So this attitude, that is giving too much importance to the extraneous, means extra literary things, this is what they are against. Therefore, what do? They say that it is text is everything. So we saw how to, and their motto is close reading of the text. So that's what we have been doing in the last two classes. Close reading of the text. Text is autonomous. Text is nothing. So that's very important point is that, no? That is, text is autonomous. Now these days you hear a lot of things about autonomous colleges. Autonomous universities are autonomous colleges. Means independent, everything. Their structure, their administration, their exam, conducting of exam, giving degrees and all those things, awarding degrees and so on, they are independent. Nothing to do with other things. See that? So they say autonomous. So the text is autonomy. Autonomy of the text. They upheld the autonomy of the text. And therefore they say, if you want to know what the text is, explication, or you say in modern, not very modern, hermeneutics, exegetics, hermeneutics, the way you interpret the text. So you can say that is close reading. So and from close reading, what will you get? You will see the tensions, the paradoxes, the metaphors, the metonymy, the synecdoche and all those things. And the parody. Yeah? And then you find out how the text produces meaning independently. This is actually the main point or the central idea of new criticism. So new critics, two very important points. First, autonomy of the text. Text is independent of everything else in this world. And then close reading, that is the hermeneutics, to interpret and find out the meaning, to explicate the meaning. What the text says, you should have a close reading of the text. Word by word, even a comma, semicolon, etc. has meaning. And how the words are, how the lines are crafted, or the paragraph, or the discourse, for example, you can say. Discourse is crafted or made. Then you can find out the meaning. Understand? So it's a reaction. That's another point to remember, a reaction. Movement, but it is a reaction. Reaction against the traditional criticism's approach. What is the traditional criticism approach? You speak about, or you go and find out the biography of the person. So what was his condition? Or for example, when you are reading, analyzing T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland, you will say, what about his married life? How many times he got married and things like that. See, those things are unimportant. Because T.S. Eliot himself says, poetry is not a turning loose of emotion, but an escape from emotion. Poetry, it is not the expression of personality, but it is an escape from personality. Understand? So it's not expression of personality, but escape. So once again, poetry is not a turning loose of emotion, but an escape from emotion. Very famous statements when you have studied in traditional and individual talent. I have given 3 lectures, very detailed lectures on traditional and individual talent. You can go through them. So emotion, but an escape from emotion. It is not the expression of personality, but an escape from personality. So that is, author and his concerns are not at all important. Understand? Then you have got opposite of there is nothing spontaneous about it. Impersonality of the art, is it? Death of the author, as Roland Barthes says, or Foucault's author function. So the author is unimportant. Author is only a function. Author function, what does that mean? Doesn't recognize the person. It's a function, means there should be some unifying force. All the things, multiplicity of things should be geared to something. And geared to something, and that something is the author function, says Foucault. So the author is out. In Barthes, author is dead. See that? And when you come to Bakhtin says, a text is not subordinated to the voice of the author. Mikhail Bakhtin, in the context of explaining or telling us about polyphony or heteroglossia, different voices. So he says text is not subordinated to the voice of the author. Understand? It is not. Text contains different voices, unmerged into a single perspective. Text doesn't give a single perspective and not subordinated to the voice of the author. Again, unimportant. Author is unimportant. It is not subordinated. You get polyphony, different voices in a text. But these different voices are not subordinated to the voice of the author. That's the thing. So it is actually a far-reaching statement. See the voice of the author, unimportant. That's the thing. So and as I told you in the beginning, text is not subordinated to the voice of the author. That's what he says. There are different voices. A text is not a single world held together. Again he says, a text is not a single world held together by the author's voice. Author's voice, nothing. Author plays no part, is it? So the new critics, already you will find the voice, the new critics, they imply this. And they say that texts, when they uphold the autonomy of the text. Understand? But now there is, but he said there is a plurality of consciousness. See that? And each with its own world. Its own world. Plurality of consciousness, each consciousness has its own world. Not subordinate to the other, not the other stories. That is what Mikhail Bakhtin, not Bakhtin, but Bakhtin, he says. That is, when he is considered as one of the formalists, no? Formalism. Yes. Of course, formalism is a part of this modern criticism. So I think because there also the autonomy of the text, not the word. And this is diametrically opposite to the romantic theory of creativity. What is it? Very famous here, isn't it? That is spontaneous overflow, powerful emotions recollected in tranquility. The author is the most important thing. Isn't it? So we cannot accept that. Actually, this movement is a reaction, we have already seen, to traditional criticism, the ways of approaching the work of art. Say, lyrical ballads. And again I have given you some 9 or 12 lectures on lyrical ballads. You can go through that also. And theory of imagination, and Aristotle's theory of poetics, and Horace, and Longinus. So I have already given many lectures on this. Those interested can go through those, and archetype and things like that. Yes. So I have come from Aristotle. I started. I have come up to the new critics, and now we will proceed further up to post-structuralism, and then after post-structuralism, what is going to happen, that you will see, and that is the prediction is that formalism will come back. After post-structuralism, the prediction in the critical world is that today, I don't know tomorrow what is going to be, but today the prediction is that formalism is going to come back. It is going to, so that is, it will be coming back, and seriously the critical circles will look into the theory of the formalists. Understand? That's what the prediction. I don't know what is going to happen. We will wait and see. So I have already told you now about Eliot, then Bakhtin, and then intentional fallacy, for example. It's not, a work of art is not to be judged based on the intentions of the author. For example, if you say sailing the Byzantine, so you might be, there are people who say that the intention of the author was to escape from this temporary world to an eternal world because he was losing his energy and his vitality. He was becoming old. Some other people say intention is not like that, it is about tamasoma and jyotirgami. Look at that. And some other people say it was his disappointment and disillusionment when he saw the young in one and this arms. I remember a teacher, that is, young in one another say, that is the problem. He said, look at that. Is that the problem? No, that's not the problem. So, this is what you call intentional. Affective fallacy, again, that is also, this movement is against that. Intentional fallacy and affective fallacy. Affective fallacy is have the emotional effect on the reader. Emotional effect of the text on the reader. For example, it is at home they brought her back and said, after reading that, what a wonderful poem it is. We feel like crying and all. That is not the important thing. The important thing is how it has been structured, how it has been constructed, what are the emotions that evokes and so on. So, or when you say, stopping by woods on a snowy evening, you say, what a wonderful, it is so great, what is it? The dark evening and the woods filling with snow, and it's really wonderful. Is that the thing? No. That isn't it? Without my telling. Those things are there, but finally what is it? The resolution of the poem is miles to go before I sleep. Miles to go before I sleep. That means you should always be conscious of your duty. That's what I think. So that is affective fallacy. None of these things, but you get into the text and see what it is. So finally, if you said to put it in a difficult language, if you want to a little bit difficult way of expressing all what I have said is that a text is a presentation. Yes, a presentation. A work of art is regarded again autonomous, absolutely no consideration beyond. Listen. So a text is the presentation and sophisticated organization of a set of complex expressions in a verbal form. Once again I will repeat. So that is, a text is the presentation and sophisticated autonomous, a text is, a text is the presentation and sophisticated organization of a set of complex experiences in a verbal form. Alright, I will write it on the board so it becomes easier for you to understand, because this is actually the central idea. The text is given importance over all other things. So I said the text is the presentation and sophisticated organization. So a text is the presentation and a sophisticated organization. So a text is the presentation and sophisticated organization of a set of complex experiences in a verbal form. So organization of a set of complex experiences in a verbal form. So this is the definition of a text according to the neocortex. So it is, a text is the presentation and sophisticated organization of a set of complex experiences. There are questions that you can ask now, see? But I don't want to spend time on that now. You can ask later in a verbal form. See, I myself will tell you a set of complex experiences. Do you find a scope for asking question? Yes. So we will answer those questions later. Another says that this what we call is a way of expressing more difficult you can say. So that a text is the specular model for an ontologically defined world. A text is a specular model for an ontologically defined world. A text is a specular model for an ontologically defined world. A text is a specular model for an ontologically defined world in terms of its self-sustaining logic of coherence. In terms of its self-sustaining logic of coherence. This is important because this is all what the new critics say, and therefore close reading. Now look at this. The tougher language maybe. A text is a specular model for an ontologically defined world. Ontologically defined world means existing by itself. Ontology, the science of existence, the metaphysics of existence. So ontologically defined world means a self-contained world, is a model. In terms of its self-sustaining, the world is self-contained and it sustains itself. There's a logic of coherence, self-sustaining logic of coherence. So it is a model of its own, in a world of its own, with a logic of its own. That's all. A model of its own, world of its own, logic of its own. Understand? Simple. That's it. And then he says, so these are the two definitions of a text according to the new critics. Very important. Both are important. I hope you might have already taken this down. Alright. So, then what happens is that in that case, what is the position of the reader? What is the position of the reader is of such a text by implication? He is like a god. The reader is a god of such a text. Then, or a magician. You can call him a god or you can call him a magician. And what is his business? What will he do? Called upon to decipher. Not Lucifer, but decipher. D-E-C-I-P-H-E-R. The text's hidden mystery from a position of his transcendence. So I will write that sentence also. Because these are the two things now. One is the text, the other is the reader. The reader who makes the close reading. So who is he? A reader of such a text. A reader of a reader of such a text. This thing is not clear, I think, isn't it? Okay, I'll change the ink. Alright? So a reader of such a text, what is he? By implication, is like a god or a magician. By implication, is like a god or a magician. Like a god or a magician. What is he going to do? Like a god called upon to decipher the texts. Called upon, his business, called upon to decipher the text, apostrophes, called upon to decipher the text, hidden mystery or text as some hidden mystery from a position of his transcendence. Next, hidden mystery from a position of his transcendence. So that's it. So what is the reader? The text is, we have seen, a specular model for an ontologically defined world, etc. And then who is the reader? The reader is either a god or a magician. What is the text? Hidden mystery. What he has to do? He has to decipher it. Like the mystery from a position of his transcendence. Transcendence means he is a semi-god. Not a human being, but part God, part spirit and part human. That means his power is very powerful. Already as in God or magician. So a reader of such a text, by implication means if we consider this as a text is a specular world for an ontologically defined world, etc., etc. So if you consider it like that, then the reader is of such a text, the implication is like a god or a magician called upon to decipher the text, hidden mystery from a position of his transcendence. When the reader is, his position has been raised to a position of transcendence, not a being belonging to this material world. Understand? That is the point. It's not a being belonging to this material world. So that is the thing. So what happens is that if you consider new criticism, the most important thing to remember is these 2 points. One, the idea that the text is autonomous. Second, idea that the reader is like a god or a magician. He has got a transcendental existence. He will decipher the hidden mystery of the text for us. Understand? After 1917, what happened to this God? What happened to the ontology of this ontologically defined world, the text existence in an ontologically defined world, or what happened to the magician or his transcendent, this transcendent being, etc. We will have to wait and see. Now, as I already told you, a close reading is a detailed analysis of the text itself to arrive at an interpretation without referring to historical, authorial or cultural concerns. This is what we have been telling all the way. Absolute independence of the text, autonomy of the text, autonomy of the reader. He should not be controlled by intentional fallacy, that is the author's intention. He should not be confused by affective fallacy, that is the reader's, the emotional effect the text makes on the reader. None of these things. Understand that? The text will speak for itself. You have to use the magic wand. Then as a reader, things will come out. Now, I will just give you the names of some of these new, some of these stalwarts, or some of those who came up with this idea of new criticism. First, of course, you know that is Cleon Brook, J.C. Ransom, that's first one. J.C. Ransom, R.A.N. Ransom, 1, 2, Cleon Brooks, third, I.A. Richards, I.A. Richards, T.S. Eliot, whom we have already quoted, T.S. Eliot, I.A. Richards, 3 is I.A. Richards. In order of greatness and preference for T.S. Eliot, 5, Robert Pen Warren. 6. William Emerson. 7. We have got W.K. Wimsatt. W.K. Wimsatt. So these are critics, new critics we can say. David Digest, Rene Willock. 8. David Digest. 9. Rene Willock. David Digest. Some people pronounce this as Dykes. As you know. Austin Warren. Then Ivor Winders. See? Austin Warren. 10. Warren. 11. Ivor Winders. These are people, they are the new critics you can say. The collective, I told you, the collective. Alan Tate, F.R. Lewis. 12. Alan Tate. 13. F.R. Lewis. See? So these are new, who practiced the new critique, who also gave theoretical inputs for this. Understand? And then you have got the, we have already said, no, Robert Penn as himself, R.P. Blackmore, which is 14. R.P. Blackmore. And you have 15. So already 14, 15 you have got Murray Krieger. Murray Krieger. Murray, M-U-R-R-A-Y K-R-I-E-G-E-R. So these are prominent new critics. Understand? And some of them have, for example, T.S. Eliot. He was a poet and critic. And we have got people like J.C. Ransom, the teacher of Cleon Brook. So student and teacher together started this movement. Then I. Richards, famous for his principles of practical criticism, T.S. Eliot, they about the Sacred Wood, collection of critical essays. Also he is known for his, the one and only great, we can say, is the tradition and individual talent. What is tradition and what is it all about? I have already told you, I have explained this in Robert Penn Warren, William Emerson, William Subson, here. Emerson, William Emerson, W.K. Wimsatt. They are the intentional fallacy and affective fallacy. David Digest, Rene Willock, Austin Warren, Ivor Winders, Alan Tate, F.R. Lewis, R.P. Blackmore, and Murray Krieger. These are famous people who practice this and also who a lot of input they have given to this movement. It is not a theory, it's a movement. I think that enough, by way of introduction, I have told you enough points and gave you enough points and enough inputs. So we will say for the time being goodbye and see how should we proceed. That depends on us. Should we go through all these 15 persons and their ideas, or limited to say T.S. Eliot, which I have already done, and now Cleon Brook, J.C. Ransom, I. Richard, and F.R. Lewis. That is known, very famous names in this world of literary criticism. That we will see later, but now for the time we will say goodbye. Hope that you have been enjoying. You got something out of what I have been telling you so far. So with this optimistic note, say goodbye, have a nice day, enjoy your life.